Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Rocket City Yardstead. We are going to make a salad that I love today. I haven't had this in a few years, but we got a really good deal on a box of Delicata squash this year. I had never seen this in local stores until this year. But have any of you ever used Misfits Markets? Before we had a garden, we used the Misfit Market delivery service, I guess it is. And these were one of the things we could get in our boxes. And that was one of the smartest things we ever did. In hindsight, it really helped us with gardening because we were trying all kinds of new things that we'd never had before. And when we started gardening, we knew there were things that we couldn't buy locally that we wanted to grow ourselves. I've not succeeded in growing these myself. I had some beautiful ones on my plants a couple of years ago, and the pickle worms got them. So we bought these. But one of the things that's really cool about Delicata squash is the skin is really thin, and so you can actually eat it. So for this salad, I am just going to cut off a couple of spots here on the outside that are not ideal. And then I am going to cut this into rings. Maybe this squash is quite firm today. So you want about 1/2-inch rings for this salad. And then we're going to roast this in the oven and it's going to be so good. I have my oven heating up to 425 degrees. Do any of you love Delicata squash as well? I have been looking for recipes because I have a bunch of them to use. This is our go-to Delicata squash recipe, but we've only ever had 1 or 2 at a time, and so I've never really needed to look for other recipes before. I saw one that's like filled with quinoa and vegetables I thought looked really good, but I'd love your advice if you happen to love this squash as much as I do. Now that our squash is peeled, I'm just going to take a spoon and get in here and scoop out the inside of all of the pieces. If you wanted, you could cut the squash in half, scoop it out, and do half circles for your salad. I just like the look of the full circles. Apart from the fact that this is just the time of year where these squash are available, I love this salad because it's so pretty. I feel like I say that a lot, but the truth is we eat with our eyes before we eat with our taste buds, you know? So if something looks appealing, we're more likely to want to eat it. But this salad has the roasted squash. It's got pomegranate arils on it, pepitas, feta. Oh man, it's so yummy. But very seasonal because we're going to put it all in a bed of arugula. And then with the beautiful roasted squash and the pomegranate arils, it just looks like the holidays, I think. So I am going to finish getting these cleaned out. Now that our insides are all cleaned out of our squash, we're just going to drizzle them with a little bit of oil and sprinkle them with some salt and pepper. Toss them all up, get them nice and coated. And then we are going to roast these at 425 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. So while our squash is roasting, I went ahead and got all of our other ingredients out. We've got raw pumpkin seeds, we've got pomegranate arils. Normally, I would probably just buy a pomegranate and cut it open myself, but these were on sale at my local Costco. I have dairy-free feta here, and then we are going to throw together a maple balsamic vinaigrette. You guys, it's so good. So I have 1 clove of garlic nice and minced up here. And you guys know I am an eyeballer. So we're going to go with about 3 tablespoons of oil here. I forgot my balsamic vinegar. About a tablespoon and a half of balsamic vinegar. Just a couple of teaspoons of maple syrup. And this is gonna contrast so nicely with the pomegranate arils because they're quite tart, and the tanginess of the feta. Some cracked pepper. A little bit of salt. And lastly, a little bit of Dijon mustard. This will just help emulsify our dressing. Plus it adds a lovely flavor. Then I'm gonna grab a lid and a ring for my jar here and just shake this up. I also discovered recently that the frother works really well for mixing up salad dressing, but you can't really beat a lid and a good shake. So there we go, our dressing for our salad. Now we're just waiting on our squash to come out of the oven. Our squash have finished roasting. They're nice and tender and caramelized. So I'm gonna let these cool for a few minutes and then we'll assemble our salad. So I've seen variations of this recipe where all of the ingredients get put together and then tossed. I prefer to toss the dressing with the arugula is what I'm using. Any kind of green you want is really a good option here. But I like to toss the dressing with the greens before I start putting all of my other goodies on top. So I'm just going to use part of this dressing, drizzle it on, and get it tossed up. And we'll save just a little bit to do over the top of the salad once we've added all the other ingredients. So we're just going to spread our greens out here that have been tossed with our dressing on our platter. Top this with our delicata rings. Full disclosure, you guys, some of my rings are a little bit more done than I want. I cut them just a little thinner than I should have. Sprinkle on our pomegranate arils. And if you don't want to use pomegranate arils, you could use dried cranberries here, or dried cherries would probably be a good option as well. It'll be a little bit different, dried fruit versus fresh, but still delicious. Sprinkle on our feta. Ooh, that was a big chunk. I may break that one up. That's a big chunk. We don't need one quite that large. And then some pumpkin seeds. If you wanted to use, like toasted pecans or almonds, that would probably be really lovely. Walnuts as well would be nice. And then finally, I'm just going to come back in here and do a little drizzle of the dressing over the top. What do you guys think? Super easy, but would be a fantastic salad for your holiday table. Just something a little bit lighter with all of the heavy things we're eating this time of year. So I dished myself up a bowl and I've got a little bit of everything in this bite. So let's give it a try. It's been a few years since I've made this and I love it just as much as I remembered. There's just so many different flavors going on with the pomegranates and the feta, the sweet squash, the balsamic dressing. It's just so good and it's so pretty. And you could make this for a weeknight dinner, or you could do it on a platter and serve it at a holiday party because it's beautiful. So short, quick, easy tonight, but I hope you guys will maybe give this salad a try. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm so glad you were here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.